And of course, it's got the 4 tires too. Jordan's automatic. Thanks.
Oh, you're fine.
Sorry, Jordan, I didn't know you were getting one. I didn't know you were.
25-093.
Yeah.
Is there anybody signed in open form? Anybody look? I forgot.
Do we need to amend anything?
No.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Oh, I missed one? I did. Sorry about that.
I'll second that.
All those in favor of approving the agenda?
Just want to get that one out of the way. Is that what you're saying?
All right. 094. Is there anybody on open form?
Nope.
All right, we'll pass that one. 095. Consent agenda, approve the minutes of 16th December 24, payment of claims, and accept donations from the Atwood Ambassadors. I believe they were represented here tonight. And Angela and Jay Covert, on behalf of Joe and Susie Youngblood, donation, $14,500 from the Ambassadors. And from Angela, and the Youngblood family, donation of $1,000 from the Masons. Title, $1,000. Where we at? And I'm messed up here.
Got that back.
Yeah, $1,000 from the Masons for the family title night. $250 from the Farmers State Bank and the movie. $250 from Quad K Farms for the movie. And $11,834 from Doug Klein Memorial for the weight room designated.
I think they wanted to say a few things.
Everybody got the claims going? Or?
Eric, is money that's donated for a specific purpose, is that separated out of capital outlay?
Yeah, there's a there's like a gifts and grants fund.
Payment of claims real quick. I did have one question on page 6. It just kind of stuck out to me. For Dion, gas for Quinter tournament and mileage. Usually that's I guess everything I've always done is mileage or.
I think one does multiple days. I think one day I want to say the gas, he got down there without a gas card or got left without his school vehicle being filled up. He didn't have a gas card in there when he left.
So he got paid mileage for school
vehicle?
vehicle?
I think then one day he drove his own vehicle.
Okay, so one is personal and one is gas for the.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ooh.
How much we paying for mileage?
Whatever the
66 and a
federal
half.
rate of, I think it's 67.
65.5.
Is it? I think
It went up.
It's
like
67.
Okay.
I think it's 67 right now.
66 and a half or 67.
And we have it quite a bit. I mean, it's not the vehicle around.
Well, we're looking these over. I believe the Tyrell from the Ambassadors.
Yep.
Would like to say a few words?
Yep. This is Jane Angela Covert. This is Susie and Joe Youngblood's daughter. Went to school here. Back in May at our local rod run, they as a couple won the toolbox that we were auctioning or raffling off at the time. Immediately after winning, they come to me and the Ambassadors and said, "We want to donate this back to you guys. We want you to use this to make as much money for the rebuild project as possible." So the Ambassadors took it back on with their donating it back, and we auctioned it off at Smoking on the Beaver. And between what it brought at Smoking on the Beaver and what the Ambassadors kicked in, we have a check here for $14,500 to the rebuild project in memory of Joe and Susie Youngblood. That's what we would like on the register for the school, is in memory of Joe and Susie Youngblood.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you,
Very,
absolutely.
very,
Whatever
very,
it
very
needs to be used for, we don't care, just as long as it goes back to the rebuild for our kids.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We are so happy that it made that much. We
Yeah,
were
it did.
very shocked, so we were very, very happy.
I
with
actually
it.
went up there and was watching, and I could not believe it was.
Yeah,
It just kept
it
going
was-
and going and going.
It was very emotional, and I'm just glad. My mom didn't even go to the 8th grade, so, you know, it was awesome to be able to donate. Joe was a graduate and was a lifelong resident of Atwood, loved our community, and I'm just happy to donate it back in their name.
Thank you guys very
Thank
much.
you, yeah.
And the ambassadors.
Yes, and the ambassadors.
They do
Absolutely.
tremendous amount for us.
Can we do a picture?
Yeah.
What do you
Who wants
want?
to accept the check? Or do you want to accept the check? Yeah,
He
that's cool.
It's your dual role here.
That's right, you are an ambassador.
Yeah, just so you know.
You better
That's
go
what you
accept.
got on this. For the thing.
You're gonna make me do that, aren't you?
Pictures. Pretty much what I will do to try to.
I already got a picture last week.
You're not,
Whatever the
Okay.
next one.
Thank you.
Right here.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys very much.
See you guys.
Mm-hmm. 14 points. That's awesome.
That's some tough stuff, man.
Any more questions, Tim? You look like you're questioning.
I had a question, and maybe it's been on here before, on page 8, the hometown leasing. What's that for?
For our copy machines. So we have a lease agreement with them.
I think that's been asked before, I should say that.
Terry, you good?
I saw one, where was it?
Working through it? Okay.
It's $790, said for high school. I've lost it.
Eric, what is America's weather?
Cold.
It's a deal that Chris Schramek put together
Okay.
for weather. He sends in information. I know
I just don't
Yeah.
call it, so I was just
yeah,
like,
It's a daily update?
yeah, daily update. He's real good if we have questions like something. We started it, I think last spring, and there hasn't been a lot of wind since then. But
gotcha.
I had
But-
a question on, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
it's kinda nice because you can call on like immediately and say, okay, what's gonna happen? You know, it's not like you have to wait for 30 minutes or 2 hours.
Yeah, for an update, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Usually right on it.
Yeah, when we were trying to have graduation outside, you're on the phone with him.
it's a local weather,
Right, it's
not a.
local and
Yeah.
it's.
Gotcha.
honestly, I think it's been really good. I started off with the month-to-month thing, and we can do it for a year. And I was thinking about just renewing it for the year or whatever.
Then he has to graduate, so. Yes, ma'am.
On page 9, the girls' basketball shorts, were those just ordered like because of the condition of the white? Did we get both sets of the black, or
They just
what's their-
replaced the white because the white
The
was
white was so
no longer
gray.
white, yeah.
But are they going to like replace the black next? Aren't they due for uniforms next?
I
I
I'm not
thought.
even sure where we're at.
I
on the
didn't. I think
rotation.
so, but okay. The white uniforms look really, really bad. They show everything. So I was just wondering
Well,
what,
they-
if they were
I believe
gonna
they bought-
reorder or maybe
bought
order
them
a sample
White
before,
white shorts to wear underneath those.
which
They wear
look
black
worse
shorts
than the
underneath.
Yeah,
black.
but they bought them white ones.
They bought white and then they had to go with
'Cause I
black
complained
because they're
about
really,
that in the
but
game.
the white looks worse. You should wear nude. And
Oh,
if you
really?
don't want to say anything, you wear nude.
Oh.
Yes, under white, but.
Learn something.
A man, I'm sure, did that. No,
'Cause I asked.
I'm just
I learned
questioning because
that.
I wondered. I was
Yeah.
like, are they gonna order like new ones? Maybe I don't know. I'm just
High school
questioning,
boys basketball and girls basketball
are up next year.
Or-
So maybe they should sample them before they buy them. Purchase them maybe next time. And
Everybody's
make that
white
big
ones,
of a purge. What?
everybody's white ones turned drab.
Yeah.
Every team that I've seen turned drab.
I don't know. I loved our old ones. That material that they are made out of is awesome, but
And
I
I
don't think
questioned what
over
you can see
time-
underneath because I said, you know, this is not what we should be seeing.
yeah,
And they said, no, that's their black unders.
it's their black spandex.
Black
Alright.
spandex, yeah.
Why aren't they white? You know,
Well, white looks worse. They
Does
tried
it?
the white, yeah, and
Okay.
it looks worse.
because I'm like you, it looked bad running down the court. And I'm going, this is
White shows worse through white. It's
Yeah.
just, it's
No,
so.
it
just-
Ask
it
a
just
good
doesn't
girl.
look white?
Ask a girl. What?
It just doesn't look white.
I mean, I think it just it's brighter.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
black almost mutes it through the
Okay.
white. I mean, if they should probably get nude. I don't even know if they make nude spandex, but I don't know. But anyway, I was just questioning it because I didn't know if they were gonna like
How old are those uniforms?
just to get us by this
Well,
year.
the whites we replaced the whites early with these ones we've got because the white ones were so bad.
I mean, the announcers were calling them gray. We're calling us the
Yeah.
gray team because they were so bad.
Well, I know Pat's
But-
worked on several of the uniforms. As a seamstress. So, I just wondered.
The rotation's 6-7 years. So
I think it used to be 7.
We have it somewhere. That would be somewhere in there. But
I think
Yeah.
she, when she was
Like everybody's
a
got
sample,
it semi-colored during sport.
early.
It'd be-
Yeah.
it would be
That's
three.
been longer than you realize.
I know that they were new. I know she had one, and, like I have a button, one jersey.
6 years?
6 years.
It's been 3.
Yeah.
Sadie graduated with Kayla, so
Yeah.
Jordan, you're
it's been
good.
third year out.
That's why it's Connor. I'm like,
Megan,
Three, but
Yeah.
throughout their high school career, they.
Yeah.
I know she had someone who's probably 6 years.
good.
On page 2, there's one that just says high school to reimburse for items listed, but it's $750. Just kind of wondering what that might be. And did somebody have to buy something for $750 that we have to reimburse them for it? Just is my
It's
concern.
probably
concern.
an activity account at the high school reimbursing the district,
Okay.
because everything purchased on a credit card goes
Yeah.
through the district, so if the high school, so it was probably your stand or
Okay.
Creative Arts Club or.
Okay. So it wasn't like a teacher went out and had to buy
No,
something for
it's the high
$700 to
school
reimburse.
reimbursing the
Okay.
district from the activity funds.
Okay.
Megan, you good?
Yep.
Matt?
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tim, you done?
I'm done.
Everybody else? Jordan? Amber?
Okay.
Have a motion?
I move that we accept the donations as presented and approve payment of claims in the minutes of the December 16th regular meeting, 2024 regular meeting.
Do we have a motion?
Wasn't that a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Excuse
second
me a
it.
second. I'm not with it tonight.
I second it.
And a second. All those in favor? All opposed? Now we move on. 25-096, action resolution for election of officers.
So we just need to decide if we want to elect officers tonight. If we do, we need to do the resolution and then we elect officers afterwards. That's the next item.
This will do her. We are a reader?
Do I have to read all that? Sam?
Well, we did the building as presented.
Yeah,
Resolution.
I think.
We've done some as presented and some we've read them.
I move, Mr. President, I move for the adoption of the following resolution. Do I have to read it? Oh,
I'm gonna say as presented, maybe.
as presented.
We have a motion, correct,
All second.
and seconded. All those in favor? All opposed? 25097, election of officers. Take nomination for president.
Who wants it?
Pardon?
I said, who wants it?
I'll nominate Wiener to serve as president again.
I'll second that. Don't look at me that way.
Anybody else? Motion to close nominations? Is that what we need?
Yeah. We need a
Motion to close
We need a
nominations?
motion to close, I'll make that motion, close nominations for president.
And a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Nomination for vice president. I'll nominate Jordan Dunker.
Yeah, we should.
We didn't? Gee,
No, you
you
didn't.
better get track of it.
You're really speeding through it
I
tonight.
am.
That's fine.
Well, thanks.
Get us home, Wiener.
So what do we gotta
Alright.
vote on?
Tim's motion and Jordan's second to close the nomination.
All those in favor? All opposed? Okay,
No vote.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I'm like just watching what you're saying.
don't watch me.
I'm like,
it's going
I'm just
south.
watching. Yeah, that's fine.
Now we shall open nominations for vice president. We caught up? Okay, I will nominate Jordan Dunker. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Motion to close nominations?
I'll make a motion that we close nominations.
Second?
Second it.
And second. All those in favor of closing nominations for vice president? All opposed? The officers stay the same?
Do we need to vote? Like we motioned to close there.
That's right, we need to vote on it.
Probably.
Okay. All those in favor of Wiener being president? All opposed? All those in favor of Jordan being vice president? All opposed? That's just flat. We move on now. 25-098, discussion of Main Street Theater Program Facility Usage Request. I believe we have people here for that.
So I brought along with me Peyton, the intern for Main Street Art Council last year. She's going to tell you just a little bit about what they did for Main Street Art Council. Or what they
So the Main Street Arts Council is based in Hoxie. They put on 6 different plays in, we found out, Oakley, Quinter, Atwood, Hoxie, Goodland, and there's one more that I can't think of. Colby. And it's free for all the children to do, and they basically, you can audition for the different types of roles. This year Atwood's doing a musical review instead of a play, so it's kind of like a show choir type thing. My boss is Bonnie Cameron, and she's really great. She's very good with the kids and just
So we wanna thank the board for letting us use the school to perform, to practice in last summer. And like she said, it is a free program for the students, and Bonnie comes to us and teaches the kids, and they get to do something this summer, presentation or performance. So it has really benefited my own personal children and our community. They're speakers, they perform, and they get used to it. So it's just a good thing to have in our building. So we wanted to ask again if we could use the gym for a performance in July, the 12th and the 13th, and practice during the month of June up to the performance. The intern is usually in charge. She lets them in, stays and helps wrangle the kids up. They usually stay in the gym or the band room, depending on if Sarah's okay with that. And then they're only an hour long Monday through Thursday, and then the performance week is a little longer. Is it alright if we use
How
the
many
school?
kids usually do it? I know there's a lot.
I think that last summer there was 32. I know in Oakley there's like 60 kids. So.
And it is local students. There are a few that travel from Colby area to come to our play, but most of them are all local students.
There's only 2 that come.
That's great.
It is a good thing.
Do you have any complaints?
No, they, you guys were in the building how many days? I mean, how many days a week do you practice in June?
4
days a week for about 5 weeks.
Yeah, and so honestly, I mean, the kids are well behaved. They stay where they need to stay. They do what they're supposed to be doing. They're, monitored nicely. So we haven't had any problems with anything. And that's saying something. It's kids on summer break, and there's 30 some of them, and Peyton's the intern, so she's kind of in charge of, some of that. Bonnie's there too, but no, they've done a great job. Last year you kind of paired it up with the lunch program, so they could come.
They went to lunch and then just came straight to practice.
So that was nice too.
Let me go ahead and make a motion for the Main Street theater program to utilize the elementary school gym for their summer production. Have a motion?
I'll second it.
And a second for the Main Street Theater program to continue. All those in favor? All opposed?
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So we need to act upon the resolution for the board meeting date.
In the packet, are the proposed dates for the board meetings for this calendar year. But they're all the third Monday of the month, except for March. That falls right during spring break, and so proposed putting it March 10th. The only other one I believe that's attached around the holiday is the 21st, which is that Monday of Easter. Last time we had that, everybody was good that we just do it that night. So, that's why I put it there. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as normal.
So the March one is, you changed it?
Yeah, I put it to March 10th because of spring break.
Spring break is that
Next week, yeah.
Do we have to adopt the resolution first?
Probably, yeah.
I move that we accept or approve the resolution on board meeting dates as presented.
I'll second.
Motion to adopt the resolution for the meeting. And seconded, all those in favor? All opposed? Move on to, C, appointment of board members for the negotiation team. Not everybody throw your hand up at once.
I'll do it again.
Good.
Anybody else?
You can do it?
Mm-mm.
You wanna?
Oh,
Mm-mm.
I'll do it.
You've been some of the senior.
Need one more?
I'll do it.
All right.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
That's good. We done?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon?
You got 3?
Yeah.
Tim, Leader, and Terry, right?
Do we need to motion that?
Yeah.
It's an action item.
I'll move to appoint Tim, Weiner, and Terry to the negotiations team.
I'll second that one.
The motion for the 3 on the negotiations team. All those in favor? All opposed? Move on to D, with sleep management plan with Trevor. And he has been here to, or is here to talk to us about it.
Yes. Eric, pull it up. I apologize for my tardiness and dealing with buses at the start. So,
Surely not.
trying to get a jump start for tomorrow on that, so it's not 5 o'clock in the morning they will start. Eric and I have been evaluating our fleet, taking a look at some of the different parameters that come up with our fleet. First thing we're gonna look at, like, with the numbers of our riders. You know, you guys know the statute. Students outside of a 2.5 mile radius from their school, the district's required to provide transportation to and from school for them. USD 105, we've got 159 students that qualify for transportation to the school, and we have 65 students who regularly use that. We have an additional 25 to 30 students who ride intermittently. The difference in that number that is qualified to drive versus actually drive has a lot to do with sports, high schoolers that drive, things like that. Right now, we have 6 different bus routes to handle those 65-ish students. And then in the fall semester of 2024, we had 141 different activities that we provided transportation for. Everything from, you know, your sports to your academic extracurricular activities as well. So our fleet by the numbers. We've got 19 vehicles in our fleet. 2 of those are school buses. 7 of them are mini buses. We've got 2 activity buses, 8 vans, SUVs, and cars. This next part is kind of shocking, actually. The average age of our fleet is 14.36 years old. 6 of our fleet are over 20 years old. 4 of our fleet are 19 years old, and 9 of our fleet are 10 years old or less. And the average odometer on it is right around 110,000 miles apiece. Of course, that changes daily. So in the last quarter of 2024, we averaged 630.1 miles a day, and that's 3,436 miles a week that we put on our fleet. And remember, this is just a quarter. We drove around the earth 1.5 times with our fleet last quarter. Our average fuel efficiency was 5.5 miles per gallon. We don't really have anything that's super fuel efficient, but you're not going to find a bus that is. And the average cost per gallon of fuel was $2.86. The condition of our street. Eric and I discussed a way of kind of evaluating our fleet, so that way we had kind of a basis also off of what needed replaced in the soonest. So we kind of came up with a criteria to assign a letter grade to each vehicle fleet. We evaluated 10 points for the exterior condition of the vehicle, 10 points for the interior condition of the vehicle, 10 points for the mechanical addition, and then we weighted it with the mileage. And then we assigned a letter from A to F for these vehicles. So then, once we determined the letter grade of the vehicles from A to F, we were able to say, okay, these are the vehicles that need to be replaced most. They're the ones that have the most pressing issues, or their maintenance costs are becoming too high. And then we went through phases with it. We decided to go by first year, the phase is the year, and then the point 1 or the point 2 has to do whether it is the beginning of the calendar year or the end of the calendar year. So our fleet, so Ford Transit 2112, it's got an A. It's mechanically in very good condition. It's got some dings and dents on it. Nothing too major by any means with it. Mileage on it, we're about 68,000. I think we might be up to 70,000. It was used a few days after we did this, so still a lot of life left in this vehicle. 2316 is our newest bus. Lori Moore drives that one. It's only 4 years old. We got no major defects. Other than tonight, it didn't want to start because it's so cold, so we may be putting batteries in it tomorrow. But it's an A. Go ahead. 1610 is our primary route bus for the Ludell Herndon route. It's a B. Nothing too major. It's got some damage to the interior where some student vandalization has occurred. We've got some exterior damage to the left rear corner that nobody seems to know anything about. It just magically appeared.
We had a bus or a deer hit that one. Mark hit a deer a couple years ago.
Sure, yeah, but it was repaired, so
okay.
Yeah, that part was repaired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How many kids will that one hold?
That one holds 44.
Okay, that's what I
And
thought.
how many
it would.
ride it on a regular basis?
26.
So if we have 65 kids that are riding the bus, is that what you said?
That's correct, yeah.
This is
This is our primary bus.
most of our
Yeah.
children.
And actually, if you leave that out, I think like 19 of them get off at Herndon.
Yeah.
So it's primarily the Herndon bus is what that is. We do need to repair those seats that are in there. For some reason, there's an overwhelming desire to poke holes in the back of seats with pencils. I think that's a tale as old as time when it comes to school buses. So we need to do that, repair that little bit of damage to the back of the bus. It's got a couple of dents. Nobody's quite sure where it was. The big thing is with the action plan is we want to maintain that bus until a replacement can arrive in 2828. And then we can move 1610 to replace another bus, 217, as our backup bus then. We'll get to 217 here in a little bit and talk to that. It's a little bit farther down the list.
Do we still have cameras in the buses?
Yes, yeah. Almost all the buses have cameras in them. All the fleet has cameras in it. One of the things we want to do with not only this bus, but also our activity buses, Verizon Connect, our provider of that service, they now have some additional cameras we can put in that bus. The current camera system right now is a dash cam. It has a forward-facing cam and a rearward-facing cam. Works great to see what's going on the road. It's really hard to tell what's going on in the back of the bus with them. Verizon now has one. It's actually a cargo cam because Verizon's system is primarily set up for like delivery fleets and stuff like that. But we can put that cargo cam in the back of the bus, and it will give us 190-degree view from the back of the bus in, towards the driver. And then they also have cameras that we can install on the exterior of the bus. So that way, we had an issue with a couple of cars that blew past stop signs when the stop arm on this one. But being that the camera is so high in it versus the car, we weren't able to catch the license plate as it went by. So with the side cameras, we'd be able to catch the license plate. That way we get that over to the sheriff's department for investigation. So
My curiosity is on like the vandalism portion of it.
yeah.
And those kids need to be held accountable.
Oh, absolutely. And if we had that camera in the back of the bus facing forward, we'd be able to catch whoever's doing it. Right now, unfortunately, just the angle that camera sits in, it catches the tops of the seats. You can see the kids kids sitting behind the seats and that's about it, so. But Verizon has addressed that in a lot of ways with this new system that we can add to our existing systems, so.
Is it an ongoing issue that continues like more and more, or have they been repaired, or has it kind of been like tabled? Like, is this the only bus that happens with?
We've got another one that it does, the red activity bus that's used for shuttling. It was discovered, and I believe it was addressed with the student body, and we haven't seen any additional vandalism done. But there's always the possibility that some more can take place. You know?
Sure.
So.
What would be the replacement cost on a bus like that?
A bus like that is gonna probably run us around $170,000.
110?
170.
How much?
170.
170?
$170,000 for one of those. Yeah, vehicle prices are
Stupid.
ridiculously high
The bus before this, how many did it hold?
anymore. The minibus, all the minibuses hold 22.
22, now another one was, so it's double.
Yeah, double the capacity.
Is that a gas motor or are they all diesel?
This one's diesel. This one has a Cummins in it. All of our minibuses, save for our two old ones, are all gasoline engines. They're all 6-liter Chevy engines in them.
I think we've replaced a couple of those with the Clean Air Grant, where we got some money back, because we took off an old diesel bus.
Yeah.
Off the road.
It's like 3 years ago.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I think we've done 2. One.
I remember 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a while ago though.
Yeah.
I still remember the arguments. That's great.
17.4, also one of our newer buses. It's not in bad shape. Other than this is also a bus that gets a lot of abuse. It runs the Achilles route, which is one of the rougher routes that we have. Nothing too major. Mechanically wise, it's very solid mechanically. We got some hail damage on the hood, a little bit of damage to one of the rear panels, where it's, got up against something at some point in time before my tenure at least. So this would be two 2017 buses, so 17.4 and 17.1. Those ones would move into a backup bus status after we phased out our oldest 2 minibuses, which are from 2004. So.
Can you explain the microbus?
Yeah.
To the.
Well, I've got that towards the end actually, so.
Volkswagen made those.
Transit 1924, another good bus. Eric and I have had conversations about this. We wish we could find a half a dozen of these to buy. They're the perfect size bus for most of the activities we do. They hold 8 passengers plus a driver, but they don't make them anymore. And the new generation, Kansas state law won't allow us to use because they're 12-passenger vehicles, and we cannot operate for student transportation anything over 10 passengers in a van type setting. Buses are a different story, but vans, 10 is the limit on it. Well, nobody makes a 10-passenger van as it is. So, and in conversations with KSDE, Keith Drilling, he's the head of that. Several school districts have said, can we buy a 12-passenger van and remove 2 seats to do that? And they said, no, you can't. It's off the stamped capacity of the vehicle. So it's like, it'd be really nice if that was the workaround to be able to have vehicles.
I know that
cargo space.
In my experience, there's been some schools and dealerships that have gotten in trouble for selling like both ends of it. Like this, I think the dealership had to pay the school back, and the school I know also got in trouble for doing that.
Yeah, not doing their due diligence and research that comes along with it. So.
Make a law.
So Transit 1924 is in good shape still. 1926 is also one of our newer minibuses. Got some hail damage on the hood. We've been trying to get a StabiliTrack rear speed sensor for it since I started, but they've been on national back order for like 2.5 years now. I've had Lori try to even order them off Amazon because we were hoping somebody It doesn't affect the performance of the vehicle or anything like that, other than it's just an annoying light that pops up every time you start the bus. This is one that we'll want to keep in service for quite a while. Right now we've got 2029, I think, is when it would be slated to be moved into a different position. 2011, our activity bus. It's not in bad shape. It definitely has some things that we need to take care of. We've got some intermittent AC issues with it. The wrap is peeling off, and there's some body damage on the rear of behind the wheels. These big buses, it's really easy to do just because of the way they swing. At some point in time, somebody's got it up against something and kind of rolled the panel. Something that can definitely be repaired, though. Something that can be repaired in-house. So that's the same thing we need to do there. Again, add the additional cameras to the vehicle, so that way we've got, an appropriate amount of coverage in it. We probably wind up needing to add 2 of the cargo cameras to the inside of this bus just because of the length of it, but also getting the side view cameras and things like that on it. So.
Is this the one with the leaky hatch, or is it the other activity bus?
That's the other activity, yes. That's Old Red, so. We can go ahead and go to the next one. 2115. 2115's, that poor bus has had a rough life. We've got front end damage on it currently from a deer impact before Christmas. The front suspension on it is also worn out, mainly due to the driving style of the driver. It's got low miles. The biggest thing is getting the suspension overhauled and then getting the damage repaired to the front end, which we actually have parts for now. The parts showed up into last week, so I'll get that fixed and we'll get it back in service. Another one we want to keep on keeping our fleet until 2031, and you guys will see kind of how we're thinking about as far as age of the vehicle and things like that when it comes to cycling them through. The Dodge Caravan 0505. This van, well, there's no easy way to put it. These vehicles weren't great when they were brand new. And after 20 years, they're really not great. In fact, last Saturday morning, or a week ago Saturday morning, I took a little trip down to the rest area at Levant to pick this one up because it died on the cheerleaders on their way back from Sharon Springs. We're getting a lot of mechanical issues with this one just because of its age. It's going to have to be on the chopping block pretty quick here, or limited to only in-town service. 17.1, it's definitely showing its age too. Lower miles, 73,000 miles. We've got some intermittent electrical issues with it. The AC system is failing. We're trying to locate an air conditioning compressor for it. The problem is this is one of the buses where the air conditioning system was installed by a third party, not the bus manufacturer. This is a Collins. So you can't call Collins to get the AC compressor. You can't call GM to get the AC compressor. You have to call this company, and then you have to give them a whole list of numbers and things like that to get the correct compressor. So they're actually trying to locate a compressor for us for this. Not a huge deal right now, other than the defrost on it is pretty weak. We need to get that taken care of. This is going to be one of the ones that we want to just maintain its condition once we get these couple things done, and then have a plan to liquidate it once we have a replacement vehicle in the works. So. 217, she's an oldie, good but a goodie. The biggest thing we're running into with this is the age of the bus. The way the statute is written is route buses can only be operated for 25 years, and it's 25 years of chassis manufacture date. So this bus actually in 2026 can no longer be used as a route bus. The difference between a route bus and an activity bus, a route bus has the 8-way flashers on it and a stop arm, an activity bus doesn't. That's the easiest way to look at it. I did speak to KSDE on this as well. They said we can continue to use it as a shuttle bus because that's considered an activity. So transporting students back and forth from the elementary school to the high school, we can still use it for that. the biggest thing is, you know, it's 24 years old. It's got some intermittent electrical issues. Some of the seats are damaged from just age. There's a little bit of vandalism in them, but nothing major. Most of it is just a result of age. We're gonna have to, kind of the plan is to use it for as long as we can, until we get the school built and things like that. And then at that point in time, we can source another bus and liquidate this one. So 419 is also another victim of a deer impact. We've got to repair the front end damage on this one. Mechanically wise, other than the fact that this was not a great generation of diesel engines in these things, it's not a bad bus. It's also getting to that point though where it has to be on the chopping block, because we're 24 years old on this one. We'll have another year, and then it can no longer be used as a route bus, even as a backup route bus. So, and the infamous old red. Red's kind of in rough shape. We've got some damage on it, faded paint. The seats are damaged. We've got intermittent heating and cooling issues. We've got some water leaks as well. You know, kind of the thing that we're looking at with Old Red is a replacement activity bus of this size is over $300,000. And so we kind of want to try and keep this one in service for close things for as long as we can. So we need to overhaul the electrical system. The air conditioning needs overhauled, and the lighting. The cooling system, kind of the plan on that is to pull the cooling system apart this summer when it's not going to be running, send off the components we can to have them record. The radiator on it, it's scaled up. A new radiator on it is almost $2,000. So it's a recordable radiator though, so we can send it off and have it record. We need to install some additional cameras. We definitely need to extend that service life out as long as we can on it, just because of the fiduciary impact that a $300,000 activity bus would have on the district. So
Were these buses bought new when they were purchased?
I don't honestly know that.
I believe the red was. I can't remember
The other activity bus was.
the superintendent that went through the
Lee Tarrant.
He's the one that went down and got that.
You ride on that bus?
He
I did too.
bought it home brand new and crashed it on the way home.
Alright.
And he was not a driver.
Oh.
No, I don't even think he was licensed. He thought he could do it.
Yeah.
I know the other two Type A buses, the newest ones we bought new since I've been here.
What's the length on an activity bus that you can run it for then?
Activity buses don't have you can run them indefinitely. Yeah, there's not any kind of state statute that says it's so many years. It's just as long as they're in good mechanical condition. So.
And this one was a piece of crap when we got it.
So
this is one
simple.
The windows don't stay up, right?
Well, you know, part of the issue is with that is all buses do that. The windows are up on these. We've just had to go through and clean the tracks, lubricate the latches on it. There's a lack of maintenance on most of these buses, because even the route buses have that problem. This one, she's just showing her age is what a lot of it is.
What's it? Have you done a rough cost analysis of what it would, the items that you've mentioned to repair it?
We haven't got anything in on paper as far as that goes. It's been more of a, hey, you know, we're probably looking at this much for this, and you know, like with the cooling system, calling around to different shops. There's a shop in Holdridge, a guy in Holdridge that does recording of radiators and things like that.
It's a really good one in Burlington.
And I heard there was one in Burlington as well. So, you know, the guy I talked to in Holdridge, he said it'd be $600-700 to record that radiator as opposed to a $2,000 new one. So.
Is this the same one with the heater problem? Which one's the heater problem?
This is the one that has the heater problems, yeah.
Because of the radiator, because of the heater core, or what?
Well, there's actually new heater cores in the tool room.
Pardon me?
There's new heat exchangers in the tool room. as I've been going through things,
Okay.
I've been finding bits and pieces. So we've got new heat exchangers for under the seats. The problem is the radiator's scaled up on the inside pretty bad, so it needs record, and then, you know, the system, of course, would need to be flushed and everything like that to take care of the heat problem of it, so. Because this is kind of one we don't want to take out when it's over 90 degrees, because
And you say new one, how far is the new one out?
I
ever checked on it?
after I had heard the $300,000 number for Midwest Park.
No, a new radiator.
Oh, a new radiator. I
How
haven't,
long does it take to get one of them?
I haven't even checked to see what a new radiator, as far as the lead time on that would be. The thing was, something like this, since we use it every day for a lunch shuttle, it'd have to be something that's done over the summer break, to get that taken care of. That was kind of what we were looking at, is, you know, in and out time, so.
Well, if we can't run this down the highway because it can't heat anything,
Right.
it ain't doing us any good sitting there.
Well, we still use it every day for lunch shuttle. And we'll kind of get to what Eric and I are thinking as far as what the replacement for this bus would be. It's a more economical solution than buying a full-on activity bus for it as well. So
$2,000 is pretty cheap.
$2,000 is pretty cheap, but we also had a $14,000 Healy pump repair this summer or early the school year on it. So unfortunately, I think this guy is at the point where it's going to start nickel and diming us as far as.
But you got it down here for extended service life to 28.
Right.
So you're obviously going to think about repairing things.
Right, exactly. And the reason why is because of the budgetary considerations as far as what needs replaced first, you know, as far as how to phase it out.
That's what I'm saying. We can't use it this summer to haul kids to Colby, or this winter, excuse me, because it needs a $2,000 radiator and it can only stay in town. Then
sure.
You know, where do we need to be with it? Is my question. So
I understand.
But we can go on, and then we can
Sure.
listen to you guys' thinking.
You betcha, yeah.
So
this is one of our backup buses. It's 22 years old. We're at the point where the service life of it, as far as a route bus, is going to be coming closed here. It's got a little bit of exterior damage. Most of it is just a lot of wear and tear on it. It's kind of one of those where we just need to maintain the condition until we can phase it out with a different bus. In this case, it'd be 17.4 become a backup bus at that point in time. 625. This vehicle, another Caravan that wasn't great when it was brand new. Right now, it's used by Greg Morenster to run back and forth between Herndon, so he doesn't have to drive the bus all the time. Kind of remove it from active student transportation service, and then designate it basically only as a vehicle for staff or driver and staff transportation. With any vehicle that we use for student transportation, it has to go through an inspection process every year. This one, we wouldn't go through that process and just say, no, it's not used for student transportation anymore.
when you do that, do you have to put like a no student sticker or something on it, or
It's
you
actually
just designate it on the paperwork?
Just designated on the
Okay.
paperwork, yeah, and there's a sticker that goes on the windshield that
Okay,
designates
that's what I was
whether.
curious.
They change the color every year.
Yeah.
on it,
Okay,
too.
that's what I was
Yeah.
wondering how they do that, because the highway patrol or somebody has to.
To know whether it's
Yeah.
not, yeah.
Okay.
There's a sticker on the windshield that
But
does.
just for my information, I was
Yep, you
curious.
betcha, no problem. 626, believe it or not, this vehicle's not terrible. Mechanically, I think we've got all the bugs figured out of it. I spent several days repairing wiring under the hood where just with age it had broken. We've got peeling paint on the exterior, which looks really bad on this one. Unfortunately, GM in this era had a real problem with paint peeling. The good news is for 23 years of my life, that was the side of things I was involved in. So kind of the action plan on this is we need to keep a vehicle like this. We use this for our afternoon at Chili's route. Being that there are so few kids that ride it, we're able to put a regular staff member in it. They don't have to have a CDL to be able to drive this vehicle. You know, we want to continue using it for student transportation, and in the case when, you know, some teachers need to go to a conference someplace or a seminar, things like that. The bad thing is when you pull up in a vehicle and it's got sheets of paint missing off of it, it looks pretty bad to wherever you're going. So the plan would be to repaint that this summer, and then extend that service life out to at least 2028.
On all the ones that I guess maybe not everybody else, but I'd like to see what you view as needing to be done to them to extend their life. Like and I realize it's hard to pinpoint, but a rough dollar amount behind everything.
Mm-hmm. We can definitely do that. The other Suburban, this one is actually in rougher shape than the other Suburban 626, but this is also our snowplow truck. The plan would be this year is to remove it from student transportation at the end of the school year, designated as a designated grounds and maintenance vehicle for Rob to use, and it has some issues with the suspension because the plow is on it. This has an auto ride on it. The weight of that plow has fouled it all up, and it's not worth trying to convert it out of the auto ride to just a standard suspension to get rid of the error messages, basically. It's more or less just turn this one into the grounds vehicle, and it'd be removed from student transportation inspections as well. And then unfortunately the worst of our fleet is the driver's ed car. This Stratus is in less than pristine condition. It just, it's got a lot of mechanical issues. The paint's peeling on it.
I have to say, I got into it. I was supposed to take it to Dodge City one morning at 5. I got in, I started it, and I thought,
never gonna make it this far.
I
It'll make
shut
it
it on.
colder, huh?
Work out my own business. I was like, I'm not. I don't trust it.
I think it's funny that it's their driver's ed car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it still safe for driver's ed?
Well,
Permanent driver's
Jeff
ed.
even applied the driver's ed brake when the driver's ed brake on the side works still.
Use the bumper car for a while.
Get into it with a student.
It's one of those where probably for around town it'd be okay.
Sorry, I just read the,
Yeah,
needs
but
to go.
it needs to be removed from service and liquidated. One of the challenges with fleet vehicles is determining where that point is where the value of the vehicle has come down to the point the maintenance costs have come up, where you want to liquidate them when they still have some value to them. And unfortunately, we've got, it sounds very disparaging, but we have a lot of vehicles that are more or less worthless on the market. And so, trying to work this plan in, and it's not a short-term plan by any means. It's a 5, 7, 10-year plan to get all this stuff taken care of. So the replacement vehicles by phase. So the first phase, 2025, which would be point 1 would be this year, this first part of the year. We'd like to find a Suburban or Ford Expedition EL, being that the transit van style is not available anymore. This would not be used for anything on the routes, just because of the body construction of these vehicles. They wouldn't last as any kind of a route vehicle. And then also like an Equinox or a Ford Escape, something that we can use for staff and student transportation, but also equip that with the driver's ed placards and the safety features, the brake and things like that. Eric and I have done some checking on it. We're looking at used vehicles, and actually we're looking at used vehicles that were rental cars. The Suburban or an Expedition, as a used rental vehicle, we're looking at $50,000 to $55,000 in that range for those. The Equinox and the Escapes, much less expensive, $25,000 to $30,000 for one of those. It just depends on where it's at and the mileage and things like that. And in 2026, this is where we gonna make some major changes. They now make a thing called a microbus. So you have a minibus, which is what we have, and they're built on a ton and a quarter chassis. They now make the microbuses. Those are built on a 3/4 ton chassis. They have a seating capacity of 13 to 14 students and a driver. 14 students and under does not require a CDL. So the nice thing with these vehicles is any staff member that goes and gets their DOT physical and takes a defensive driving class can run one of these. One of the biggest hurdles we've got is finding people who want to go through the CDL process, which I can tell you it's rather arduous at this point in time.
The federal government's added a whole bunch of regulations.
Yeah.
That's crap now.
There's four separate tests that you have to take just to get your learner's permit, and then there's a series of modules that you have to take, and then you have to have so many hours of drive time with a licensed CDL driver, and then so many hours of drive time with students and a licensed CDL driver, and then you have to go take your test. And in our situation, it's a test where we have to take the school bus, one of the school buses, and drive it, and then we have to take an activity bus and drive it for the test because of all of the endorsements you have to get on the license. So it's pretty arduous.
Matt, weren't you telling me you had to go to Hayes to do CDL license now?
It's not Hayes, like, we've looked at, for us, like I can go do some stuff and become the designated guy to teach everybody for our business, and then, or there's I don't remember if it's in Dodge City but for like us, I don't know about passenger, but you can do a 2-week course.
We've typically, so at Colby, it's been really hard for the drivers, and so we've gone to Phillipsburg to do it, and honestly, when I was in Ellsworth, that's where we went to, was Phillipsburg. So
you have to be signed off. Like there's a whole list of stuff to be able to go do it in Colby. That's where, like, if I go and get my qualifications. Yeah. Anyway, it is a mess. It's a mess.
And that's why we're looking at the microbuses, because it'd be like, hey, this would be an excellent ability. I think the one that we would order would have the bus on the door and the steering wheel opposite. You know, when I flipped the picture, I didn't realize.
I did notice, and I thought.
Just curious what kind of engine comes in them.
So these are built on either the Ford Transit platform or the Chevy GMC 4500. So it's going to have a 5.0 gas engine from Ford. The GMC one, I would assume it'd probably either have the 6.0 or the 6.7 that they offer now. These are things that you have to order. Nobody keeps an inventory of them. They're actually in pretty high demand. And I think a lot of school districts are in that position where they're going, hey, we're not sending a whole lot of kids on this route. We don't need 22-passenger minibus. We can send them out in a 14-passenger microbus instead.
What's the price?
We were a little shocked when it came to the price. They're about $130,000 a piece.
Oof.
A new minibus is $150,000. And unfortunately, being that they're as new as they are, there's no used market available at this point in time.
But with the minibus, you have to have your CDL for those or not?
You do have to have your CDL for a minibus. Anything that's over 14 passengers, you have to have a CDL for. But with this being 14 passengers and under, you don't have to have the CDL. You just have to go get your DOT physical and take the defensive driving class. It's much more attainable for a much larger segment of the staff to do. And then we'd be looking at, as well as, you know, finding a mid-size SUV, to replace that Caravan. Something like, you know, a Traverse or,
Guess you were naughty for Christmas.
Eric and I talked, Ford would be an Explorer. Not a huge fan of the Explorer configuration as far as the interior. I think that as for a family vehicle to commute around in, it's fine, but trying to load people in and out of it, they're just not set up that well for it.
I'm not a big fan of minivans, but why not another minivan?
Part of the problem with minivans is there's only, okay, step back a second. We're looking at domestic manufacturers, and the reason being is availability of service work on things like that. If it's something I can't do. If it's a Honda or a Kia minivan, we're traveling a long ways to get that done. Even a Toyota, we're traveling a ways to get done. You know, domestic, we can get it done here. The only domestic manufacturer of the minivan at this point in time is Chrysler. And Chrysler only makes the Pacifica. The Pacifica is a higher end vehicle. The price of a Pacifica is going to rival the price of, say, an Acadia. So from a dollars and cents fleet standpoint, the capabilities of a four-wheel drive SUV versus a rear-wheel drive Pacifica, that's why we were looking towards that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess I'm just not a big fan. Four-wheel drive, I mean, I get it, but it's that much more maintenance, that much more mechanical, and if we need four-wheel drive, then I'm guessing we probably won't be having school anyway.
Well, and the thing is, like, with something like this, there's a good chance this isn't for student transportation to and from school. This would be staff or activities or things like that as well. You know, they do make two-wheel drive versions of these as well. So, I mean, we can look at that as well. The downside with the Pacifica is, you know, the base price of the Pacifica is like $47,000. So, you know, you're talking $50,000 for a minivan. It's a lot of money for that vehicle. So.
Ultimately, everybody would be geared up for microbus if it's based off of the transit platform. Just yellow instead of white.
I really wish we could get more transits in that configuration that we have, but.
Do we need to look at getting on if this would be determined a feasible option, get on a list somewhere or get our placement in order?
That's part of the plans. I think if you look at that sheet that Eric printed out for you, there's some that don't have numbers on it towards the bottom of the list.
No, yep.
And that says when we would order and things like that, because almost all of the school vehicles are about a year out. So in 2027, we'd be ordering another microbus to replace 17.4. And then we were looking at a 5500 series activity bus to replace old Ram. Rarely do we have the activity bus at capacity when we send it out. We're sending a lot of vehicle down the road with not a whole lot of passengers. When you go with one of these size buses, they hold between 30 and 32, it depends on the configuration. They're lower to the ground, they're based on a truck platform, they're easier to drive than the activity bus. They're not equipped with air brakes and things like that, so let's say we have somebody who has their regular passenger endorsement, they don't have their air brake endorsement, we can put them in this, send them down the road with that as well. We have found some used ones of these, ranging in the $50,000 to $60,000 range. New ones are $150,000, $160,000, which is considerably less than a $300,000 full-size coach bus.
How much did you say used, roughly?
The ones you're finding that were used were 58, I think is what it was.
What kind of mileage on something like that?
50,000?
I think it had 51,000 on it.
It was a 2013 though.
Yeah, it was a 13. It was in Pennsylvania.
Is there
Similar to
storage
that.
on one of those?
Yeah, they have the under belly storage. There's a storage compartment in the back, and then it has a bus storage above the seat. So, if you've ever been on a party bus,
Never.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that one that I told Trevor I really liked the one he sent me. I just wish it was like 5 years newer.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And they were running 55.
Yeah. It was
That was
like I didn't mind the mileage on it or.
No, the mileage wasn't bad on it. Yeah, the only downside was it was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So being able to go and inspect it, things like that.
It's a party bus, guys. Yeah, I mean,
Worst case scenario.
How rusty.
it can be a party bus if we get it.
Yeah.
Are any area schools utilizing a bus like this?
Yes. I believe Oakley has.
Oakley has.
I think Oakley has.
I'm sorry, what'd you ask, Matt?
If any of the schools around us are utilizing a bus similar to this?
St. Francis has one kind of like this too, don't they?
St. Francis has one
I
too.
think so.
I think it's junior colleges.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've seen a lot of them, like McCook going by, and Colby.
I passed one 100 times and just.
Oberlin got one, but it was more of a semi-friend, isn't it?
Yeah,
The new.
it's more of a freight. I think it's got a Freightliner on it.
And then Hitchcock County has one too.
How many of these kids hold?
They have capacity between 30 and 32. And so that would be the replacement for Old Red at that point in time. Kind of the same thing if we wanted to go towards a newer, we'd have to, work it into the budget where, okay, where are we at with it and can we go towards the new, can we go towards the used? I don't have any problem with the used vehicle, just as long as it's been maintained.
If the others are going with a different brand, I mean, is that something to look into as well? Because, I mean, they're gonna run into the same situation as we would.
Yeah.
Whether for maintenance wise.
I'm not a brand snob. I've worked on cars for 23 years of my life, and I've determined they all suck. So,
And the newer they are, the worse they are to work on.
Yeah, exactly. So it really doesn't matter.
Sure.
It's just the biggest thing I would look at is if it was something that I was unable to do, and how
far do you have to get?
Yeah, exactly. So.
The activity bus now we have to send to Kansas City.
Right.
To get. I think there's an office in Denver, but everything that we heard was take it to Kansas City, don't take it to the Denver office.
Yeah. And the tough thing you run into with those activity buses is because they're not one manufacturer specific. We've got like the white bus has a Detroit and an Allison transmission in it, and then the chassis is built by International, and then the body is built by Thomasville. So, it's kind of a hodgepodge together. Luckily, like Central Power Services, Detroit's and Allison. So, like, we took it down over Thanksgiving and had them do a transmission flush and the service on it, so that way everything was set where it needed to be. But if it was something more along the bus side of things, we'd be hauling it to Kansas City. So, in 2028, that's when we would be looking to replace our full-size school bus. That'd be 1610. We'd be rolling 1610 into a backup bus. 217 would have to head down the road at that point in time. Even though that puts us beyond the route bus, we can still use 217 as a shuttle bus in the interim for that. So if we were shuttling them back and forth between, here in the Columbian Hall or here in the school, the high school, things like that. And then 29 and 31, that's when we'd be looking at replacing the transit vans. Fortunately, unless Ford decides to come back out with that configuration, we'd be looking at a full-size SUV at that point in time. And by 29 and 31, who knows what the offerings will be. So, one of the things we look at is like with our time schedule. In the past, I don't think there's really been a time schedule as far as how we're going to manage the fleet. Is just more or less, hey, this one's worn out, we need to get something new. What we want to really look at is when that vehicle age and mileage begins to negatively impact the value of the vehicle. So that way, as a district, we can liquidate that vehicle still retain some of that value or some of that, or capture some of the value of that vehicle to apply it to the next vehicle without it going down to where we've got vehicles that are essentially from a resale standpoint worthless. So, we estimate between 10 to 12 years of service before the liquidation values drops below the maintenance cost. So if we can kind of keep that in mind as far as our fleet goes, not our buses, but our fleet, having those things cycled in every 10 to 12 years, that kind of gives us an idea of how to plan for the future. Now, when it comes to school buses, what we look at is when that vehicle's been in service for 12 years, a replacement bus is ordered at that point in time. So that'll give us, I'm sorry, it was supposed to be 15 years. 15 years of service, not 12 years, I apologize. And then 3 years of backup bus usage. So that way when we go to liquidate that vehicle, it still has 7 years of life, or 7 years of route life left in it. So that way, say another school district is looking for a backup bus, they'd be willing to buy that. Unfortunately, school buses just don't hold their value. So if we have to fudge those numbers one way or another, it's not a huge deal with them. But kind of that 7-year number gives us kind of that card we can play in the selling where, hey, instead of selling a full-size bus for $3,000 for somebody who wants to turn it into a camper, we can sell it as a school bus and it still got 7 years of life left in it as a route bus for a district out there and be able to kind of get a premium on our vehicle at that point. And for activity buses, with proper maintenance, we can keep those in service indefinitely. But as our needs of activities change, we need to update and change our activity buses. More of a fluid thing, 20, 25, 30 years, who knows what the activity buses lifespan would be.
It's not going any further.
As I said, that should be it. So, any questions, comments?
Yeah. You've got 6 bus routes.
Yes.
How many students ride each bus route? I know we got 2 large routes.
We've got 1 large route.
1 large route.
Udell Herndon is our large route. The other routes average anywhere between 9 and 11 students on them. Some are as low as 6, others are 12. So it probably averages out to probably 9 students per the other 5 routes.
So how many's on the big route?
32, I believe, is what we average out on that. I think I have that on that sheet. I'm not sure if it's on that spreadsheet or if I've got it. I'm kind of a spreadsheet, so I have tons of spreadsheets as far as data goes. The Udell Herndon route's the biggest one. I think we average 32 students on there. All the other ones average between 6 and 11.
8 or 9 students on 5 routes.
And we put them in a bus that holds 22 people.
That was my next question. Have you looked at, can you consolidate the routes?
The problem we run with consolidating is the miles traveled. When you look at when we're traveling 4,000 miles a week with our buses, we cover a lot of territory to not deliver a whole lot of kids.
Right, and then I wondered how much time.
I was gonna say, Mark and I looked at that a year or 2 ago, and we are having trouble getting it. Maybe a fresh set of eyes, it would be good this summer for us to look. I don't think that would be a
bad. Is there a law on how long a student can be on the, okay, that's
I think we try to keep it at an hour.
Yeah, we try and keep no more than an hour.
Makes sense.
I know
I
Connor
got on the
doesn't.
bus at 6:30 in the morning when I was a kid.
I know Connor doesn't ride the bus a lot of times because it is an hour and 15 minutes before he gets home after school.
Right.
So, and we live 8 miles out of town, so that is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when we've got doorstep service at most of these places, we're traversing a lot of miles with not a lot of students on the bus, which is where that microbus would come into play because smaller vehicle, better fuel efficiency, you know, it all adds up to the scheme of things.
So have you
So
heard
these are-
anything on the microbuses, like how they handle like our rough roads, or has there been any?
That was gonna be my question.
Personally, in
I
my,
haven't seen one, to be honest with you.
in my experience, it doesn't matter what vehicle it is. When they manufacture them to run on pavement, because they think that's where everybody lives. Any vehicle out there today, the manufacturers just don't think about the half of America that doesn't live on pavement. And because of that, you know, we run into some unique situations with these vehicles because of kind of the severe usage that we put them through. The biggest thing is, and not to speak disparaging of my predecessors, but there's a huge lack of maintenance, preventative maintenance on these vehicles. It was reactive maintenance. Something broke, we have to fix it. Instead of looking ahead and saying, okay, we need to do this, this, and this. You know, one of the procedures I put in place is every day of the week, one of the buses comes in. We clean out the inside, we wash it if it's appropriate, we do an inspection on it to make sure that we're catching that stuff preemptively, so that way it's not a problem down the road. I'm very much an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure type of guy. It's like, let's put these guys on a routine so that way we can catch the problems before they arise. Does that prevent every problem from arising? No, but we've eliminated a lot of that stuff because of it.
Well, the roads aren't what they were 12 years ago either.
Well,
They don't have the help to maintain them, and given the weather, what it is nowadays.
Well, and you know, I look at it because coming from Nebraska, we had the same problem.
Yeah.
You know, our county roads are just in rough shape. But you know, 30 years ago, we were hauling grain in grain trucks that held 18 to 20,000 pounds. Now we run in semis that hold 100,000 pounds. You're going to have additional wear and tear on those roads. And the problem is no fault of the roads department. They continue maintaining them like they're running grain trucks on them, and it just doesn't work anymore. You know, same thing even with implements. You know, you put a 960R up against a 4340 as on a scale, and that 960R goes, you know, I mean they're more wear and tear on the roads. Everything is. And it has a direct effect on us as far as our vehicles go. Calling down the roads department, screaming and yelling at them isn't going to accomplish anything, though. It's one of those things where, you know, in my position, I need to foster a relationship of give and take with the roads department to get our issues addressed. And something I'm working on doing with Mark down there is, you know, trying to figure out the best way to, you know, say, hey, these are the section of our routes that are really bad that we need to address. That's a whole other conversation.
We have 159 students that qualify, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I want to say there's something in the back of my head that said that if you have the potential for 25 students on that route, you have to provide seating for those 25 students that qualify.
We thought that was too, but after checking with KSDE, that is not.
So it doesn't matter if
We don't have to have a certain number of seats.
We just gotta provide them.
Yeah, we just.
You don't have to have a certain number of seats for the exact number of kids that are possibly gonna ride?
No, we do not. We do not.
Really?
Yeah.
So if all the students chose to ride one day, and all we have is microbuses, what do we do?
Well, in that case, we'd have to do 2 trips.
Minivan.
That's my what if scenarios that I know you like.
Hi, keep them coming.
Well, we kind of had one of those situations. Like I think because we run that
What?
suburban in the imagine that we run that suburban in the evenings, right? The afternoon route, and we ended up with an extra kid, and
Right.
so I think we switched out a vehicle
Yeah.
instead
Strapped
of the
them to the
suburban.
top.
Yeah.
Just gonna strap one of them to the top.
I think we would have been, but I think we could switch that vehicle.
We did switch out vehicles, yeah.
No, I understand. I'm just saying if we
Yeah.
convert to, I like that scenario. It's just if we get to that point, what do we do?
Well, I think one of the things we need to also look at as we're going through this, and this was something that popped in my head this weekend when I was driving actually, was we need to look at our student body right now and look at how many are in high school and will be graduating in the next 4 years versus how many are in preschool, and what the influx is gonna be. Is it gonna balance out, or are we going up, or are we going down? And then and looking at that as well as how many of them, what percentage of our student body is gonna qualify for transportation at that point in time? Because the state provides funding for that, but only if they're outside of that 2.5 mile radius. So that's kind of the thing. If a student, if we were not to offer transportation, then the parents could actually basically make a claim with the school district for reimbursement for the distance that they have to come in.
There's school districts that just pay mileage to whether they would have ridden the buses or not. And it's just one or like one per family, but they pay mileage for that.
Is there any grants or scenarios that are coming available, like the Clean Air Act?
Big thing right now is they want to push to electric.
Oh, that's gonna change.
And electric is not gonna work.
Today.
Electric's not gonna work.
I think I did see the Clean Air grant come up again.
Did it?
I think it was an interest letter here in the last month.
Is that some? I mean, I recall there's only like one. We only did one bus at a time, but is there a scenario where we need to?
See, it's technically supposed to be it. We can look into it certainly, but
maybe do 2 buses.
Yeah, if I remember right, it has to be a route bus that you use. But
and our pressing need now is not so much buses, it's fleet vehicles. That's where our main pressing need is our fleet vehicles are what need addressed first.
What you presented as far as what needs to be replaced over the next 3 or 4 years? Is that $1 million?
I sure would hope not. I don't think
It'd have to be awful close if you look at just 2 buses there, $500,000.
Well, if we were to replace the number that I crunched through just off of broad estimates, if we were to replace our entire fleet, we're right now between $750,000 and $1 million, and that's what if we replaced everything that needed to be replaced. But we need to spread that out and come up with a number where we can say, okay, we've got X amount of dollars that we can apply towards replacement vehicles at this point in time.
If I'm reading this right, you want like a Suburban or an Equinox this year?
We're looking at both of those this year, yeah. And Eric and I, we've looked at new vehicles. I'm still waiting to get a quote back on a fleet vehicle from the Chevy dealer in Goodland. But we were looking at the rental side of things. It used to be you'd never want to buy a rental vehicle, and that's because they were ridden so hard. Rental fleets in the last 10, 12 years have figured out that it's best for them to rotate their fleets quickly through. Generally, you're not going to find a rental vehicle for sale that's more than 2 or 3 years old. They like to get rid of them before the warranty expires on them, because generally, with the way those contracts are written with the rental companies, they write it in for the first 2 years worth of maintenance or the first 3 years worth of maintenance into the purchase price of that vehicle. So when that maintenance period starts to end, they want to get rid of it because they don't want to have any out-of-pocket expenses when it comes to maintaining those vehicles. So you're going to find vehicles with relatively low miles. The Suburban that I looked at, it was an Enterprise vehicle. I think it had 22,000 miles on it. It was $54,000 for that one. The Equinox was, I think, a 2023, and it had 21,000 miles on it. They were asking, I think, $23,000 for it, which is, basically you're letting the rental company take the depreciation hit the first couple of years on the vehicle, and then you can buy it from there. So.
What's I mean, I don't think it needs to be anything fancy, but what's the new Suburban's going for?
Well, we don't have a fleet price one where it's kind of the stripped down version. The lowest package price ones, they start at $70,000. So that would be like an SLE version Suburban.
I thought we were looking at them as well, and I thought they were coming in lower than that, so.
Depends on the package on it though too. You know, which package you're looking at purchasing. That's why we need to get the fleet pricing on it too, where we can find it with, cause you're not gonna find an SLE that has 2 bench seats in the back of it. It's gonna have captain's chairs in the bench seat, whereas we'd want the 2 bench seats as a fleet package on it. A lot of that just comes down to, you know, trying to find a dealer that's willing to put the legwork in to get it. The guy who handles all the fleet stuff at Goodland, he'd been out on vacation, and he and I have sent some emails back and forth, but I haven't got any firm numbers from him yet either. So.
I'm just gonna say I have a lot of love for doing vehicle search on Suburbans or Tahoes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Seems to me like, didn't
I'll
we
come and visit with you.
acquire one or look through date availability?
Was not on.
Was that?
We tried to order a transit van and it got canceled on us.
No, this was through the state surplus. Like it was.
Not since I've been here.
Say that again, Wiener,
What's that?
State surplus.
It was like a state surplus. We got a car, a Suburban through or something.
I know.
And it was,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of the.
it wasn't. I don't know if they still do it or not. It was through the state, through Topeka.
Yeah, they do like.
They have a state contract.
Well, then they do for like law enforcement or fire departments and schools and.
There's a state
Something like
contract
that,
you can
maybe, I
order
don't know.
through. I almost think that older transit van came from that.
Cause one of them, it had like, say 10,000 miles on it, something, 12,000 miles, and we bought it through a state surplus thing.
I have to go back and look. I don't know.
There you go, that's how old I am.
I will say, I mean, this has been the fleet situation has been an ongoing adventure since I've been part of this ride, and it definitely needs addressed in some fashion, is the way I would put it.
Well, we did have a schedule at one point. I mean,
There
has
yeah.
been, but it hasn't been followed. So we need to either.
I think every bus guy we've got has had a schedule to replace buses.
That's the problem. There's no follow through on it.
You know, I say fleet, I mean, we've known that the vans have been an opportunity. Suburbans, not a big fan of 3/4 ton Suburbans for us, but I get it, I guess.
Well, if we were to replace the Suburban.
I'll say this on the Suburban thing. When I was coaching and we got sent places and the weather turned bad, it was pretty nice to have a 4-wheel drive vehicle because there was times when we had to use it.
I get it. I don't think it needs to be 3/4 ton, but.
Well, probably not, but it sure carries a lot better when you're on a 3/4 ton in the ice.
And it works for you guys that have less that you can.
That's if we can stay awake because we left at 4:30 in the morning and it's 10:30 at night. And we're driving home.
These county roads.
Well, that'd be the reason we wouldn't want to get rid of the one Suburban, both the Suburbans. The one that we use as a plow vehicle, and then the other one that we use as student transportation. You know, and Eric and I have talked about this. I wouldn't dare put a new Suburban as a route vehicle on our roads because it would be destroyed in a year. You know, the Suburbans that we have, that GMT 800 platform, it's a pretty rock solid platform. It's, you know, it has its own weaknesses, but as far as the ability to stand up, you know, those Suburbans, those vehicles that are built on that GMT 800 platform, as long as they don't rust out, they'll still be around in 25 years.
I'll agree with that. They are.
They're workhorses, you know. Unfortunately, the new breed of vehicles, and it doesn't matter what manufacturer you go with, they look nice. You know, they look nice. But as far as longevity and durability, they've made them more or less a throwaway item
I appreciate your time to put all this together. I mean, it's very informative and
Well,
well thought out.
I think it was something that we needed to address, and we needed to, you know, it doesn't have to be resolved now or in the next 6 weeks, but it's definitely something that needs to be at the forefront of our minds and trying to figure out how we're gonna move forward with this. You know,
The rental ones that we were talking, I can't remember if it was Hertz or a different one, but they had a deal in Denver with a ton of.
it's an enterprise.
Okay, enterprise.
has
Okay.
that, yeah.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I just mean at least it's fairly close for us to go get it. Like not going to Pennsylvania for that bus or whatever.
And with that Denver one, if it's at one of their other locations, they'll bring it for you. There's usually a transfer fee that they charge, you know, because they've got to put fuel in it and pay a driver. But, you know, it's pretty nominal for the most part. I think I saw one that was in like Las Vegas and transfer it from Las Vegas to Denver. It was like $249. I'm like, well, we can't.
Cheaper than flying somebody to Las
We can't
Vegas.
fly out there and drive it back for $249.
I'd
pay my way out there.
Yeah,
You can have some cash like come home.
We're gonna have a suburban pool on the way home for that one. we gotta make sure that one's ready to go.
So have you, on budget side, you've been able to figure out how to make some of this work, or?
I've been working on that. I'll have, I'm not quite ready to present it, but yeah, I've been working on that, and with what I'm showing, yeah, a lot of this would work.
On the 2 trucks he's needing now, or the truck and the car.
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry about that.
Well,
that's what I got for that, so.
Thank you, Trevor. Anybody got any questions for him?
I think I've asked away my portion.
I got a question. Are we gonna need one for
yes,
executive session? So he's gonna stay around?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll move to take a 5-minute recess.
I'll second that one.
Motion for recess, 5 minutes. Second, all in favor?
About to go start my pickup
All
right now.
opposed? We're gonna go back in.
I'd ask.
Next is
What do we got?
099, administrative report.
I'll start. So the power school breach, Chandler's been working this since he came to me with it right when we were coming back, I think. So kind of the main thing is they're gonna start offering some like credit monitoring services and things like that to parents and staff. They haven't said exactly how they're gonna do that yet, so that's why we haven't done that specific of a notification, but that'll be coming up. So I know from what Chandler and I have talked, it was around the Christmas time is when that happened.
So, first of all, I seriously appreciate the attention that we had. When we first found out on January 7th, it initiated our cybersecurity response protocols, which basically is lock everything down, start reviewing logs. I found out, I was communicating with the beautiful thing with technology directors and school districts is we all communicate, we all collaborate very, very well. It's one of our strengths. So when that happens, you had all these school districts who had Power School and were trying to figure out what was going on, what are we looking for, what's the problem? Because when Power School first notified of us of the breach, they were kind of vague on their wording. Some of that is because they had 15 terabytes of data logs to go through to sift through, and they hired CrowdStrike to help them with that. So there's other school district technology directors that were looking, and they kind of found some suspicious things. They're passing it around, so I was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to take a chance, look at it. Sure enough, that's where we were. I stayed up until 2 a.m. one night looking at log files trying to validate what others have said. I texted Eric and the rest of the administration team at 6 a.m. said, I hate to be the bearer of bad news early in the morning, but I need to meet with you. And then, they're like, at 8:30, let's meet at conference room 8:15. And so it's been a ever fluid situation. December 28th is when Power School is notified through the attacker that they have been breached, that they expelled any Power School customers' data. So nationwide, Canada, whole world kind of ordeal. They immediately took action. They started their investigation. They hired on CrowdStrike to take a look at things. And they were actively working on that. On Wednesday, the next day, they had a webinar kind of giving us more information on what they knew, what they found out, what they're working towards. What they said in the webinar matched exactly what I found in our logs and what all other technology directors were finding in their logs. So that realistically kind of made me feel good, although kind of still on edge. Some of the things that we were trying to wait to do, we knew that we needed to get notified parents and staff of, hey, we've been breached. We're trying to find the right time to do that. We kind of figured, it really realistically hasn't hit national news. We don't need to cause a panic. And so we kind of waited until KWCH and is it WIBW? And KSN kind of posted it, and we released ours. We made sure that in that communication, we knew the issue was going on. We're working towards it. If you have any questions, we're always open. And that just kind of went through. As soon as we got notifications for updates from Power School, I shared it with the administration team. If it warranted an update to our community, we updated our community as well as we could. And then the last one that we've gotten from Power School is they are now working to provide all Power School customers who are affected, so us, all of our staff, students, previous students and graduate students, and previous staff members will be receiving credit monitoring and identity monitoring for 2 years. Through this whole thing, they're working on notifying. The other thing that they have to do as well with the state of Kansas is they, on our behalf, are notifying the Attorney General's office that we were breached. They're leaving us to notify KSDE, but KSDE is already been notified because when this happened, all of us technology directors swamped towards them of like, help, we don't know what to do. That's kind of where the things are on that. Looking at our logs now for everything district-wide, we are in this very secure mode. We haven't had any issues of compromise so far. It was just yesterday that we had a well-targeted phishing attack. I don't know if it's relating to that or not, but they decided to phish some staff members, and it made it look like we took care of that as soon as I learned about it. So it's an ever fluid situation. It's one of those things that I don't think I'd ever have to deal with in my career, but you know, I didn't think I'd have to deal with fire either. So there's that.
Yeah, I had a teacher yesterday that texted me or emailed me. She said, "This seems suspicious," and I had sent her an email saying, "Hello, please could you drop the contact to text you on? Thank you. Lacey Strom's principal, Jones County Elementary School, 205 North 4th, Abbott." But it came from
a random
Levi Mitchell 96@gmail.com. So it went out to all of my staff. Jeff
same thing.
Jeff sent one out also. So
I know Allison said during Christmas break she was getting tons of emails and she kept turning them in.
I unfortunately, I took Christmas break.
No qualms towards you at all. I'm just saying that I knew she had said she was getting some of those random weird ones and was reporting it or whatnot. So I'm sure.
It's been a very interesting thing. The other good news too is about 2 years ago we were collecting social security numbers and keeping them in Power School. 2 years ago I went to the kids training. Something about social security numbers and keeping that in Power School or any student information system was brought up. The assistant director of KSDE's IT team all looked at us and said, "You guys are doing what?" And so I came back and I said, why are we storing social security numbers in Power School, and what's the reason? Maybe we should change this a little bit. And we kind of went around it, and they were like, our office team was like, well, we have to do it for state reports. I said, no, there's no state report that KSD has that requires the kid's social security number. It just opens up the whole cans of wax that I don't want to deal with. So we removed that 2 years ago. So thankfully that was not inside the breach. It was just grades.
Right. Well, no, because then Susie was telling me that she and Becca went through, and because you can go back to like past students, like graduated students, and they removed all of theirs too.
Yeah. So
unless they've missed something, I mean.
It's been a fun 2 weeks.
Right.
So.
And a lot of work for you, so thanks.
It's.
Can I get on there and look at my grades?
Yeah, from your past scores.
I can.
Are you serious?
I can pull up your transcript.
I wouldn't.
Come on over. We can reminisce.
Make you feel real good, huh?
But yeah, it's been kind of an eye-opening.
His behavior log.
Okay.
It's definitely been kind of eye-opening, and I think because of this breach, when I first kind of joined, I came from a company who we were on the blockchain doing crypto intelligence and stuff like that, dark market. You kind of saw the bad things of the internet. I came here and, I implemented 2FA almost immediately, and I think some of our staff kind of had some frustration over that, but after kind of dealing with this, I think they were kind of like, now I can kind of see why you're doing this. So.
My education data, they do connect through Power School for some information. They haven't been breached, and they're contacted them.
Yeah, all things that link into Power School with their API, they are secure. I reached out to them. I was like, you're going to tell me you're secure, but I want actual documentation. They are secure, so.
We're ready to, just as an update to that, we're ready to implement that. We had a staff training, and but we've just kind of been holding off just to confirm, and then we want that's going to be a good thing, and we don't want it to be negative from the start with this other thing. So we're probably not too far away from being able to implement it. Building update. So what McCown Gordon's looking at presenting numbers for MEP 2 and 3, the construction meeting, and then having a special board meeting on the 27th. They've gotten bids for all of those packages except for one electrical bid. They're waiting on. They may have it now, but that was as of Friday. MEP 4, which is the finishes, will go out to bid soon, if not already, and they're looking at like around the February board meeting for that one. So, so we'd be looking at a special board meeting on Monday next week. That's really all I have.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
Okay, you're listed.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
Indeed. Creative Arts Club is gearing up for our Valentinogram sales. Valentine's Day will be here before we know it. My screen is really dark. Let's see. The 24-25 Scholastic Art Show award winners were announced. Scholastic Art Show is a state-level art show, and they recently announced their winners. This is a prestigious show that will exhibit the selected students' artwork for 1 month in Liberal. Students whose pieces are selected are offered scholarships to a variety of colleges. Any pieces that receive the American Vision Award, Best of Show, or a Gold Key will be eligible to have their work judged excuse me, at a national show held in New York City this coming summer. Winners of the national show are announced in the spring. We had several students receive a Gold Key. Let's see. Local art student recipients are as follows. American Vision Award Best of Show, Xanthier Bren for a watercolor called The Open Road. Gold Key winners, Clara Caspins for a mixed media, and then 3 additional drawings. Xanthier Bren for a batik. Silver Key award winners, Zara Bren for a drawing, Andrea Romero for a drawing, Josie Ginther drawing, Clara Caspins drawing, Raya Casper drawing, and then we had a couple honorable mentions. Raya Casper received an honorable mention, and Jasmine Rodriguez as well. So kudos to those art kids and their achievements there. Sent out this email. Our new English teacher sent a reply. He thinks English is going well so far, English class. So keeping the kids busy. He's working on grammar, tenses, basic punctuation. The kids are going to work on, they have a book assignment to read a book before spring break, before the finish of spring break, or to finish it before spring break. But his goal is, to really assess the kids and see what they know, and try to fill in anything they are missing to get them on a successful path. So.
But can he diagram a sentence? That's the big thing.
I bet he can.
Okay, just check.
I can't. Nor do I want to. Lastly, Chet Copeland with Sports in Kansas presented Thank You Before You Post to 5th and 12th grade students. Was that last week already? So that was good to have him come. A bunch of us went to crisis training in Ripley. There's a couple more days of that coming up. A preparedness training through what they call Project Frontiers. So I think there was good knowledge given there. The grade school, they did their the in-service Friday, was to fill their need. But I thought we had a very productive one at the high school. We went through emergency response protocol, kind of the language we'll use if we have to make an announcement, how we want to, moving forward,
there's different levels or hold, like if there's not an actual emergency, but we need to keep kids out of the hallway. A secure if there's danger outside the building, say like a high-speed chase or something going by, locking exterior doors, a lockdown, evacuation. With that, went through kind of our fire drill procedure and tornado drill procedures, depending on whether we have the gym or we don't have the gym. Just kind of went through that and just had a good discussion to kind of get all the teachers on the same page and plan to review that with students moving forward here too. I thought it fit in nicely. John Calvert came today and presented our in-service this afternoon in active assailant training, which was, I think, was a bunch of good information too. He is, what is his position? Do you remember?
He's like safe and secure coordinator, school coordinator,
Right.
or director or something.
Like the director, like the top of the in the state of safe and security in schools.
He
So
was
he
a
wasn't
school,
SRO.
yeah, he was a school resource officer and a officer, police officer.
And he's coming back tomorrow to do changes student-led for our 5th and 12th grade again. We'll do that in the high school gym. So excited about that. And we do have quite a few, seems like, presentations coming up. Mr. Stoddard's chomping at the bit to do his bullying presentation that prevention board purchased for us. So
it's the HERE program.
The HERE program, and that'll be 5th through 9th, I think, is what that's designed for. So
we'll do that next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, hopefully. We're gonna do it tomorrow, and then we already have one tomorrow. So we've been so.
And then to add on to the, unless you have more.
No, that's it.
Today and maybe you guys did too, like on Friday, there's different ways that you can go about like the training for active assailant. Like there's different acronyms that you can use, but we're going with the I Love You Guys Foundation, which we had talked about a couple years ago. So we're sticking with that and the verbiage that they want us to use and accepted through the state of Kansas as one of the top programs that they choose. Like Alice is one of them.
He named about 4 or 5, and he said I don't lean one way more to one or the other. They all do the same basic thing. It's just what you.
His message was it's called Run, Hide, Fight.
Yeah.
And he really calls it Run, Prepare, and then Fight.
Yeah.
Right. He did say, I mean, if we get a chance to work with EMTs, firefighters, police, like to set up a time to really get it kind of talked about throughout the community and get a plan.
I did talk to him afterwards about doing that for our new building, and he said he'd come out when that's done. That kind of help us with that too.
So it was a great day today.
Yep.
We also did testing security for Kansas State assessments this morning, and what we have to do that every year just to get retrained for anybody that's given out a state assessment. Paras, teachers, anyone who's doing that, talked about that. And then Friday, you guys did more of the crisis stuff, but we did UFly training, which is the University of Florida Literacy Institute, and just opportunities for teachers to expand their reading and phonics knowledge and enhance their teaching practices and like reading and language arts. Gave resources for teachers, parents, to use for reading instruction. So it was very valuable. It was all day, but it was good. And then our other one this month was January 6th. We did the My Education Data, and then we presented our KISA plan to the staff. Have we talked that? Have we met?
No.
Go ahead.
Our KISA plan was approved. So we talked last time.
Oh, it wasn't the one rejected?
Yeah.
No, because they said 80% get rejected, and we were accepted on the 20.
Like that day.
Yeah. Like we sent it in like that morning at 10:30.
Were we one of the last ones to send?
They're like, okay, we're done with it.
No, it was like 3 days early. It usually is. We usually aren't on the.
I always wait till the end, you know.
They sent it in Friday at 2 o'clock.
Yeah. And we did it on Tuesday or Wednesday.
That's great. No, but it does help because Amber Miller is, I think, the person that does check them off at the state level, and she did help us with it. So, I mean, she kind of has to accept her own plan, right? What does that look like, right? No, we're supposed to be patting ourselves.
Yeah.
I asked my teachers to let me know what they've been doing. 6th grade reported that they have been continuing their visits with the PDC. They were there on Friday again. They're doing a novel study of the book Echo. 6th grade is also starting a body systems museum, like a project-based learning with that, and then ancient China and social studies. 5th grade is working on the flow of energy and matter within food chains, and working
Within
on
food chains?
food chains where, you know,
Interesting.
what animal eats what,
Mhm.
where do they live. The flow of energy between the life cycle.
You said energy and matter, and I went to physics, and you started talking about food chain, and I just went,
Well, I mean, there's probably some physics in there. Then they're working on the colonies too. If you look in the hallway before you leave, they have the hallway is actually the Atlantic Ocean, in case you're wondering, and it's the I think the colonies are on one side and Great Britain's on the other side, and then they have some ships that are trying to sail between, which will get removed soon because the fire marshal will be here on Wednesday. So it's a short-lived project, but it was fun. The extension office was here, presented the conservation poster theme of home is where your habitat is. The students have already created their posters and turned them back in for the judging, and that's usually held the first part of February.
With extra glitter, we told Aaron. Oh man, he was fired up about that.
We had some glitter. We tell them they have to be scanned through, nothing 3D.
He's not excited about the glitter.
We put those on top. We thought he would like those.
I like that.
I'm not excited about the glitter, and I'm not even messing with it. I'm twitching a little bit.
The public library board purchased 11 chess sets with the school collaboration fund donated by Gordon Crowdis. So Lacey Walker is utilizing chesskids.com to teach 3rd and 6th grade students, through 3rd through 6th grade students how to play. Once they've completed the lessons, they're going to have a chess tournament, which we're pretty excited about. The kids I came in to watch them learn some chess, and they are very knowledgeable, so this will be kind of fun to see. You might need to come in and challenge them if any of you know chess. I don't know.
Natalia's been all about it. So.
It's a great time to teach them.
See? I know.
Picked mine up at 510 Main the other day, and there was kids in there sitting there in the corner playing chess.
Working some chess. I think that's excellent. Art class is getting busy, creating different pieces for the League Art Show on April 2nd in St. Francis. I talked to Derek Chambers. He is the new pharmacist, correct? And he stopped by to let us know that they have chose the elementary school as one of the schools that they want to provide all school supplies for next year. So the teachers need to get their lists together, and so they want to purchase every school supply for the elementary school. Right.
Amazing.
So they choose, I think he said 24 different schools in the state of Kansas, and we're chosen.
What company is it?
He didn't really say. I don't know if it's part of his pharmacy.
Is it probably a pharmacy guild
Right,
of some kind?
of some sort. He didn't give me a name because I kind of was like, what program are you with? He's like, well, it's not really a program, so I'll get more details and
For all
give
the
him a
students?
thank you. For all students. So, you know, the list that we give you out, and school shopping, done. Check.
Fighting over what color of ruler you get.
Yes, right.
Perfect.
So, then Atwood Masonic Lodge also donated $1,000 towards our February title night. This money was used to purchase a book for each elementary student so they can participate in a school-wide reading program starting next week. And so it'll end February 20th. It's Mr. Popper's Penguins, so there'll be like a 15-minute activity to do at night with your student, and then to just read the story and read it aloud to them or have them read it to you. And then we'll watch the movie on the 20th here in the gym. And then invite parents in. It's kind of like our glow night that we'd had, but have them come in, watch a movie, bring a picnic supper for your family, and just sit down and enjoy, and we'll have popcorn provided and things like that. So that's our next family night. And then mentioned earlier too that Quad K Farms with Jennifer and DJ Castens. They donated some money along with Farmer State Bank for a free movie for the elementary school at the Jayhawk right before Christmas. So then the movie was paid for, and then a small drink and popcorn for each student. And then while I was saying this, I also remembered we got interviewed.
Oh, yes.
That maybe you would like to explain.
KSAB.
Let's not talk about it.
Jordan will tell us all about it.
Yes,
He was really good.
Jordan.
But that's.
Yeah, you should have been there.
It made me think of it when they said we were selected as one of the 24 schools to receive this the school supplies. But we were also selected as one of the 8 schools by the Kansas School Board Association. A school that's doing something good.
And
Right?
ours was collaboration, and it was just the way we've all had to work together to, I mean, not just our situation, but
In general. But they really wanted us to talk to them about communication, how we communicate through, the different buildings, with our teachers, with our parents, with community members.
Kathy Horton.
Kathy Horton came in. We had a couple teachers, some from the high school, elementary, and then Jordan represented the board.
They
So
probably
at
just
some
X'd
point,
that one
there will
out.
be a video, because they videotaped us all. They did come in and got some live video of the kids, and so they came into the library, and we got kids learning to play chess. So anyway, so it was.
They went to the high school.
Yeah.
They got.
Yeah,
in Miss Hadley's class. They got,
I was gone.
Well, no, I walked around.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know. They were okay, cool. Got the Miss Hadley's class?
Yeah. He got a picture of the buffalo. Somebody got a
Good.
buffalo.
So yeah, we've had a busy couple weeks. I don't think it's gonna get any.
No.
Okay.
Time of year.
Wait a minute, how's the gym working out?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything negative about using it. I mean, I think it went well. So.
Well, who cleaned the carpet on the wall?
Who cleaned it?
Yeah.
It's a cleaning company.
That service
But
master.
it actually looks red now.
It was supposed to be red?
Who did?
The service master cleaned it.
That's what they'd done that
Yeah.
first time they came through.
Yeah.
It's been a year or two, huh?
It looked that red from the get-go, right after they cleaned it.
That's when they had all those lifts in there and they were scrubbing the ceiling and.
Well, I was really surprised.
The red shag at the
It
school.
looks nice.
Yeah.
On the gym.
I don't know. I was there both nights and everybody seemed really happy. They said thank you. I mean, had a lot of thank yous for having it.
Yep.
Both games were pretty positive experiences.
Well, the bleachers
Pretty good crowd.
A lot of,
Yeah, good
a lot of people. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was good.
I had stopped the guy and talking to him about it. And I said, cause my smell is not very good. And I said, can you smell any smoke? Why? And I said, we had a fire here. Oh, yeah, no, I don't smell it.
The only time I kind of got a little bit of a hint was when I walked in for that C team night. I thought maybe I smelled it just for a second, but then I tried to smell it again and I didn't. Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay, we're done.
Oh, it was very warm on Friday night. It was hot in there, so that was good. I mean, good, not bad. I mean, I was dehydrated when I left, but
How long do you need?
probably 15 minutes.
We need executive session with board personnel with the option to call Trevor.
Yeah. Well, let's do our first couple things and then we'll call Trevor.
That's okay. For 15 minutes?
Yeah.
I'll move that.
Could say, okay, that was a motion. We have a motion for 15 minutes, board admin, option to call Trevor for 15 minutes.
I'll
And second. All those in favor? All opposed? We're back in session. Do we have any action, gentlemen and ladies? Ladies and gentlemen.
I will move to hire Kendrick Woody as assistant high school golf, boys golf coach. And also accept the resignation from Joanna Jiga, the high school Spanish.
Motion on the table.
So I'll second the motion.
And a second for golf coach and resignation. All those in favor? All opposed?
Yeah, do we need to say date on that? Since we already accepted it, now we're.
Make a motion to
adjourn?
to adjourn.
There you go.
I'll second it.
He got stalled out, didn't he?
I gotta drag it out. I gotta drag it out a little bit.
Adjourn. And a second, all those in favor? All opposed?